What's up, y'all? This is DJ Kenny Parker, DJ and producer for Boogie Down Productions / KRS-One, and today I'm back with another story. Today's story is part of my series that I call Epic Fails: When Hip Hop Goes Wrong. Today's subject I'm calling Guess Who? Because I can't really tell you who it is, but I could tell you what I saw. My first story starts off in the mid-90s. I was in Times Square in New York City on my way to a club. I went into a local store that was on 44th Street and about 8th Avenue, right in the heart of Times Square. Now, for people that have never been to New York has a bunch of stores where you could buy food on just about every block. In the hood, we call these stores bodegas or corner stores. But in Lower Manhattan, we call them delis, short for delicatessen. So I went to this deli on 44th Street to get a soda or something, and in walks about 12 to 15 dudes. Two of the people from this group of guys I recognized as being part of a rap group. Coincidentally, I had just heard on the radio maybe a few days earlier that this particular group had just reached gold status, which is 500,000 records sold. Now, for any rap group to reach gold status is a big deal. But back in the 90s, this was especially a big deal. So this group was pretty huge. So when this group of guys entered the store and I saw the rappers that was with them, I actually was cool with one of them and actually said, "What's up?" to one of them. He was like, "Yo, what's up?" I was like, "What's up?" So while I was headed to the back of the store to pick up something to drink, I noticed one of the guys from the rap group, who appeared to be the leader of this crew, go to the front to buy something. Now, based on how these guys were moving, I immediately recognized this hood trick. The trick is, one guy goes to the front of the counter and buys something small, like a stick of gum or a candy bar. And while he's distracting the store owner who's at the cash register, the other guys go to the back of the store and basically take whatever they want. And that's exactly what happened. The other 15 dudes went in the back of the store and they started stuffing their coats with beers, sodas, cookies, cakes, potato chips, everything. Dudes are sticking them in their coats, sticking them in their coats, sticking them in their pockets. Now I'm watching this like, yo, these dudes are wildin'. So all of a sudden, the guy who's at the front of the counter says, "Yo, let's bounce." And everybody just started leaving out the store. Zoom, 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 zoom. This whole thing took about 2 minutes. By the time everybody left the store, the back of the store was ransacked. They took everything off the shelves. And the guy at the front counter didn't even notice it. I'm looking at all this like, damn, these dudes just sold 500,000 records. Me being part of a rap group that has sold 500,000 records a few times, I know what kind of money that 500,000 records will generate. You definitely do not need to be in the back of a store stealing. And on top of that, we were in Times Square, which was one of the biggest crime areas in all of New York City. So police were everywhere. Why would you risk getting locked up for some cookies and some cakes? Anyway, like the old saying goes, you could take the dude out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the dude. Story number 2. Now, this particular story is not about an actual person, but about a song. Let's see if you guys can figure out what song I'm talking about. The year was 1993. It was a Thursday night, and I was listening to the radio. I was listening to this underground legendary rap show called The Stretch Armstrong Show featuring Bobbito. This show aired on WKCR College Radio in New York City at 1 o'clock in the morning. They played all exclusives, freestyles. It's one of the greatest shows of all time. Shout out to my man Stretch Armstrong. Shout out to Bobbito the Barber. So, I'm listening to the show, and they play this one song that sounded different from anything I've ever heard before. The song sounded like it had some water dripping in the beat. And after listening to the song, the only thing I could remember out the whole song was the guy said, "I'd rather bust a nut than bust a cap." That's all I could remember. Stretch Armstrong never gave the title of the song or nothing. So the next day was a Friday. I was like, yo, this song is so incredible. I have got to find this song. So I set out on a mission to go to every record store that I knew of in the New York City area until I found this song. I went to the first record store, which was one of the most popular record stores, and they knew me in there. I went in there, I went to the counter, I said, yo, I'm looking for this song. I don't know the name of it, but it sounds like there's water dripping, and the guy says, "I'd rather bust a nut than bust a cap." The people at the counter were like, what? What kind of freak show are you talking about? We don't know this song, man. Get out of here. That's how they were talking. So I was like, damn. And I left. Went to another store. I'm looking for this song. There's water dripping. I'd rather bust a nut than bust a cap. Once again, they looked at me like I was crazy. Man, if you don't get out of here. I went to 5 stores, said the same thing, and got the same reaction. We don't sell pornographic music in here, basically. So after my 5th or 6th store, I was walking down the street. I remember it was on 6th Avenue in Manhattan, and I was dejected, like, damn, I'm never gonna find this record. And I bumped into my homeboy walking down the street. Who was it? The legendary New York City radio icon, Chuck Chillout from 98.7 KISS FM. I saw Chuck. He said, "What's up?" I said, "What's up?" He said, "What's good with you, man?" I said, "Yo, Chuck, man, I'm looking for this record. I don't know the name of it. It just sounds like there's water dripping." And the guy says, "I'd rather bust a nut than bust a cap." Chuck Chillout goes, "Oh, that's Premium Boy. That's J. Rue." I said, J. Rue? Now keep in mind, I had met J. Rue only a few months earlier in D&D Studios. Around this time, DJ Premier and KRS-One was working on KRS-One's debut album, Return of the Boom Bap. I remember seeing Little Dap in there from the group home quite a few times. Shout out to my man Little Dap. Shout out to Malachi. Also in there was another one of Premier's boys, J. Rue. But this guy J. Rue was quiet. He never said nothing the whole time we were in the studio that I could recall. This guy J. Rue used to just sit in the back, in the corner, and just chill. Actually, J. Rue was so quiet, I forgot that he was even a rapper. Which is whack on my part because J. Rue and Little Dap actually rhymed on one of my favorite Gang Starr records.
We got my man J. Rue the Damager. Yo, tell him why you're the man.
I'll tap your jaw. You probably heard it.
So when Chuck Chillout said to me, "Yo, that's Premier's boy J. Rue," I was like, oh, I can't believe it. So then he was like, "Yo, they got the promos up at the record company. You should run up there." Chuck Chillout told me that the J. Rue project was signed to Polygram Records. So I ran up to Polygram Records, went all the way inside, all the way up to the marketing department and into their office, and I said, I need the new single by J. Rue. The guy looked at me and said, damn, man, it's a Friday. We sent all of them out. We don't have any more copies of this song. I was like, damn. So I was about to leave when this one dude said, yo, come here. He said, yo, I got one copy in my desk. I'll let you get it. I was like, yes. So I went over to this guy's desk and he hands me the 12-inch single. I took the single and I ran home and I put it on the turntable. As most of you watching this will already know by now, the artist was J. Rue the Damager and the song was called Come Clean. And the water dripping sound that I heard was one of the illest samples of all time. History will show that I was correct, that would be one of the greatest hip hop records of all time and might be Premier's maybe his top 3 signature tracks. Shout out to DJ Premier. Shout out to the whole Gang Starr family. Shout out to Guru, rest in peace. Once again, let me give a super shout out to my man J. Rue. J. Rue being from Brooklyn, I would bump into J. Rue every year at the West Indian Day Parade that they have on Labor Day. It'd be like 1 million people out there, and no matter what, every year I would run into J. Rue and we would hang out for hours and have a good time. By the way, for those that don't know, J. Rue the Damager is hilarious. Lastly, here's a quick bonus story I want to tell you guys. I'm gonna call this story number 3. This particular story takes place, once again, sometime in the mid-90s. I was leaving a nightclub and I was leaving kind of early, so it had to be like a little after 12, but I was on my way home. So I was walking down the street and I walked past this parking lot and out coming was these 3 guys who had just parked their car. One of them was a well-known producer who most of you guys watching would know his name. The only clue I could give you guys is he has worked with KRS-One before. That's it. So I see the producer and he's leaving out of this parking lot. So I say, what's up? He said, what's up? It's all good. Now this particular parking lot was like an open lot and they had like a little parking attendant booth where you pay your money for how many hours you're gonna park. But after a certain hour, some parking lots in New York tend to close. So the parking attendant booth is locked, but people could still park there. So it's almost like free parking. So if you could get to this parking lot once they're closed, it's like a lucky break in New York City. So these 3 guys are walking out. He said, what's up to me? But there was this homeless guy who was lurking by the parking lot. So he walks up to the producer and was like, yo, you gotta pay me money to park here. So the producer was like, come on, man, this is a vacant lot. You don't work here. The guy was like, yo, you got to pay me money to park here, man. And he's talking like that. So the producer was like, yo, go ahead, man. This ain't your parking lot. Go ahead, man. So the guy, the homeless guy, jumps into the producer's face. Yo, man, you better give me some money to park here. The producer hauled off and caught this dude. Pow! Knocked him out cold with one punch. This dude was asleep on the sidewalk. I'm looking at this like, oh, he knocked him out. And I remember this producer guy had on like a short leather jacket, almost like a racing jacket, and he had on matching like racing leather gloves. So when he caught this dude, it went just like that, and the dude was out. And I was like, dang. And the producer said to me, "You all right, man? Like, I'm out of here." And I was like, yo, have a good night. There was nothing else left to say after that. And I turned the step off and I looked down at the homeless guy who was still laying there. And I was saying to myself, damn, man, watch who you step in front of in New York City. If you do, you better have your hands up. Anyway, I would love to see who you guys think this producer is. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong, but there's no way you're going to be able to guess who this is. No way. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the stories. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.